Hello, hello, and welcome to Awaken Your Human Design. My name is Moni. This is Danny. For the week of June 18th through the 24th, the sun will be in gate 15 and the earth in gate 10. Happy summer solstice. Enjoy those long days. Thank you to everyone who is watching and liking and subscribing and doing the thing and helping us grow. We really love and appreciate you. So let's get into it. We have the sun in gate 15, which is modesty, which is an identity-centered gate, and the earth in gate 10, which is the behavior of self, which is also an identity-centered gate.
This holds down right now, this 15, this modesty and extremes is going to be, this is the keystone of civilization. When you build an arch, you build around a barrel or something, and at the very top, when you put the final keystone in, you can remove the barrel because the arch is now solid. And that keystone is always special. If you ever notice, it's always bigger, right? And more pronounced as it wedges into place to be that. And that's what 15 serves. And we'll talk more about that in a minute.
Here we have the sun in gate 15, which is modesty in the gate of extremes, the quality of behavior which expresses the proper balance between extremes. Gate 15 is an identity-centered gate, part of collective circuitry, so sharing is our keynote, and it's part of the understanding circuit specifically. Gate 15 links up with gate 5, which is fixed patterns, and the 15-5 make up the channel of Gate 15 has a love of humanity and a capacity to accept and find a place in society for the full spectrum of human behavior. This is how we project transpersonal love for humanity's diversity, by understanding and accepting the diverse and opposite tempos part of humanity, and fully embracing and promoting for all of us what it means to be human.
So the keystone part that I was talking about is in the double wide aura of 15. If you have a gate 15 in your body graph, your aura extends not 1 arm's length in every direction, it extends 2+. It's a double wide. This is the magnetic. This is a magnetic rhythm that brings people into the aura that you are in. In civilization, that's what we needed to do. We didn't during mutation, during initiation, we were growing and just happening anyways. And during the bonding process of that quarter, it's not needed the same way. This making modest the extremes means that everybody gets to have a seat at the table sooner or later, and it balances those various aspects so that that which was extreme ultimately through the vessel of love, the love of humanity, the love of all things, the love of the self, the wish that the gate 2 drives the love in a direction towards more beauty, all of that's going on can be characterized in 15, and it's love of humanity and the capacity to take even extreme stuff and basically shave off the rough edges, make it modest. That's why they call it modesty. Not because these people walked around fully cloaked in a robe and a burqa and whatever, living some modest only. It's because that which was extreme was made modest. Think about that. Something goes on and the old man is like, whoa, and he just is able to calm things down, and everyone in their extremes, suddenly it doesn't matter as much. Mm-hmm. And this is a magnetic process. This is the most magnetic gate. Its love of humanity can also be its hatred thereof, or its disdain for. That's true, but generally not, because gate 5, when it links up to it, it creates a life force that makes a fixed pattern and fixed rituals around the the extremeness of humanity. You take all 8 billion people and ask them just one question, and you're going to find an extreme array of stuff. That's part of our extremeness. That's a great way to sort of point that out. And it is an amazing capacity. And so in the middle of civilization, we're attracting, with the vessel of love, an invitation, essentially a generated invitation to move in a direction that, like the modesty, think about what I'm describing. That modesty is beauty. It is a beautiful thing when enough forces around allow all the behaviors in, with some exceptions obviously, but basically almost all of them get to then be that way. And that is part of the beauty that gate 2 pushes us in. So I love this gate.
Yeah, gate 15 is fun. I kind of think of it as like, if you imagine like a seesaw, and there's like the different extremes, and gate 15 is kind of that fulcrum point in the middle of finding that point where they can balance, or this sense of everything can exist in its proper place. If we have the
Yes.
appropriate things in the proper places, you can have everything exist. We get into trouble when we start putting things in inappropriate places, right? If you try to play and party instead of like working and taking care of your family, those are not the appropriate places for those behaviors, which we'll get into next with gate 10. So it makes sense that they have that opposition. But if you have everything in its proper place, cool, go have fun, go party and play, and make sure you're going to work and you're taking care of your kids or eating healthy and exercising, whatever it may be. But you can have this variety of experiences and ways to be if they all have their proper places to exist in.
It's just a beautiful place to be. It's part of the vessel of love. If you've got a gate 15 in your body graph, you'll notice you have a capacity to just be cool about plenty of things. You're just able to be cool. How are you so cool about that? Everything was, going on.
Happens.
It happened. Right, it happens. There you go. Gate 15 invented that phrase.
It
It
happens. Deal
happens.
with it.
Yeah, it
Can't
happens.
get mad at everything.
Right.
Next up, we have the Earth in gate 10, which is treading, and the gate of the behavior of self, the underlying code of behavior which ensures successful interaction despite circumstances. Gate 10 is an identity center gate that's part of integration and individual centering circuitry. So this is about self-empowerment and empowerment in these two different expressions. And gate 10 is really busy. It has a few different buddies it links up with. First up, it hooks up with gate 57, which is intuitive insight, and 5710 make up the channel of perfected form. Gate 10 also hooks up with gate 20, which is the gate of now, and the 1020 make up the channel of awakening. And finally, gate 10 links up with gate 34, which is the gate of power, and the 3410 make up the channel of exploration. Gate 10 is love of one's self, empowering potential to surrender to living authentically as yourself. As you come to know, accept, and love what makes you unique, you empower others to love themselves, not as a commitment to becoming something, but a commitment to being yourself.
It's just so true. Gate 10 will literally, it says it in the underlying code, this treading, the underlying code of behavior. That means the underlying wiring in us to suddenly have a behavior. And don't forget, it's married up with the extremes of humanity. So we might have to shift that behavior, whatever it is. Gate 10's acuteness with its awareness that's attached to it through the 57, its power through the 34, and its sudden penetrating awareness at 20, because if you put all these gates together, this is all aiding and abetting our behavior. It also says, I love this part of it. It says that to love oneself is deeply intertwined with the behavior that you have in a moment-to-moment basis and on a daily and weekly and just over throughout your life. Your behavior is what you find much of the love in. I'm me, I'm this way. Or not, or sadly, some people don't love themselves, obviously. And in that case, it's a lamenting of the things that naturally are happening perfectly for you in the first place. So you know, get yourself in for a reading. We'll get that figured out. Gate 10's love of itself is infinite. And through all its lines, its 6 lines that's so important, they become our role model. They become our modeling gates where we get our roles. They are named after this, in between the martyr and the investigator and the hermit, right? And the general and the role model. All of them are named after gate 10. Our basic roles of behavior are named here. It's getting a lot of things done, and its opposition in 15 says, my love of myself is at home, especially amongst the extremes of humanity. So it says we're in a comparing business. I love myself, share it amongst you. Do you love yourself too? Let's share that together. This is like an interface place for humanity in its love of self and its love of other, and humanity itself can all sit at the table and love themselves uniquely and independently, no matter what their differences are. And I think we just talked about this on the nodes and in the last transit. A giant clarity process is coming through all of this to finally make us aware that our behavior is okay. In fact, this is a perfect next transit to come up based on all the stuff we've explained between the last transit, the nodal shift, and the couple of transits before that. This just fits in perfectly. It says, not such a big deal. Don't worry, you're good, I'm good. I love me, and if you love you, then somehow or other that feels empowering to me too. This is the language we're supposed to have amongst ourselves. And gate 10 and 15 put together in opposition give us a chance to hear that. We might hear that this week, putting a final creme de la creme on the old way we just got out of, moving into this new 4722 that are the nodes now carrying us along. So I love that this is here. It's another cosmic divine assist in that nodal movement we were reading, in my opinion. I like looking at things like a little bit of magic, because what the heck do we know? Right?
Yeah.
It's just better to us to just be hopefully magic about it. It's like, oh, look at all that.
I mean, it is. You can look at how the circulatory system works. You can see how the heart is pumping blood from this place to that place. You can understand the mechanics of it and still recognize, like, this is magic. This is divine. This is beauty, that this works. You know,
How come that all happened that way? I have no idea.
yeah, like it has to be from something intelligent. You can't have intelligence come from non-intelligence. So to see the beauty
Good
and the
point.
intelligence of our design, then you have to know it has to come from a designer of some kind.
Yeah, it wants to be authentic. It wants to aid and abet its uniqueness and then share that.
Here we have our incarnation crosses for the week. First up, we have the right angle cross of the vessel of love, which adds the 25 and the 46 to the 15 and 10 we've been discussing. And these are people who are naturally concerned about the welfare of humanity. By knowing their own place in the scheme of things, they bring diversity into the flow. Then we'll move into the juxtaposition cross of extremes, which adds the 17 and 18 to the 15 and the 10. And these are people fixed in their own, usually extreme rhythm, not always in the flow with others, who are unaware that they naturally shine a spotlight on what needs correcting. And finally, we'll move into the left angle cross of prevention, which also adds the 17 and 18. And these are people who always seem to meet what doesn't work. It is a gift when used to lovingly guide society away from making the same mistakes over and over again.
So it's a perfect civilization building tool we're seeing here. It's the right vessel of love for this particular quarter of the wheel. That movement into prevention, sure, in a mundane sense, it can end up like people just trying to prevent things literally, and or looking at what might be spoiled, but like bringing it up too much, in other words. So watch out for timing if you're in this particular cross. But the movement from this vessel is people who are naturally concerned about the welfare of humanity. It's natural for them, and no matter how much they might want to tune out for a moment and bah humbug for a minute, they'll be back. It's natural for that to be this way here. I mean, it just is. Every iteration of the lines of both of these gates say so. Just read them for yourself. And what a giant surprise it must be to step into that juxtaposition cross. Oops. We're not fixing things, right? And I'm pointing it out, and I can't help it. And by the way, I point it out right now because it keeps happening right now. So it can be jarring, I guess, a little bit, but these extremes are needed. This whole process allows us to get to what's worth preventing. We just spent the first half of this quarter. By the time we're into this particular incarnation cross, we just spent half of this whole quarter of civilization building it uniquely, and enduringly, and with grace. And now it's time to make sure we love it and keep it. And that love starts with the love of the people. Gosh, it sounds like our Declaration of Independence, our preamble, or our Constitution in a way. Much more poetic version of, but well, maybe not in some cases, but it sounds like that.
The essence is there.
The essence is there, very much so. The people and our uniqueness. The people and our uniqueness. Doesn't it sound like what we're crying for these days? Protect the people and our uniqueness. This is the tug of war. No, 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 your uniqueness must give way to the collective demands. That's a lot of what's at foot these days, I think.
End of the cross of planning.
Yep. Yeah. Say no more. This is perfect movement to move through this and to move into what we're moving into. After this love of it all comes service. We are in service of civilization where humanity lays its head at night, essentially. I think it's gorgeous. Remember, this is our design going around a wheel. We were made to evolve this way. Think about that. Talk about intelligent design. You repeat this over and over for millennia, and finally the genome of the people wearing it, essentially, in the meat suits walking around, will start living it out. And that's us now. We're coming to that period. It's like, and we're starting to see it. Thank God for human design.
Here we have our hexagrams for the week. First up, we have the sun in gate 15, which is modesty. And in my I Ching book, it reads as integrity. And the trigrams are earth over mountain. The image reads, in the center of the earth, there is a mountain, integrity. A noble one reduces what is too much and increases what is diminished, weighing things up to even out their distribution. The earth is unassuming and supports all beings. You might never realize that it contains the height and solidity of a mountain at its center. A noble one is inwardly as self-sufficient as a mountain and as firm as bedrock. She has quietly built up the inner resources to sustain an intelligent, centered generosity. She reduces exaggeration and brings things back to a state of equilibrium, weighing up what is needed from moment to moment and always referring back to that inner balance point.
Balancing between the extremes of humanity with your behavior that is always successfully balancing between the extremes of humanity. Sounds like integrity to me. It just does. That was one of the lead words, a certain integrity. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's like finding.
Modesty is such a good name for this gate. Modesty, modesty, modesty.
Next up, we have the earth in gate 10, which is the behavior of self. And in my I Ching book, it reads as treading. The trigrams are heaven over lake, and the image reads, heaven above, lake below, treading. A noble one differentiates above and below and makes a place for the people's aspiration. The depths of the sky are reflected in the lake as it dances below heaven. An awareness of other dimensions of reality enters inner dialogue, and this becomes aspiration. It's as natural for people to aspire as it is for the lake to reflect. By marking out the difference between above and below, a noble one shows there is a direction to travel and a distance to cross. This means differentiating the ideal you aspire to from your step-by-step progress as you follow it.
Treading. You know, when I first tried to understand what that whole treading was, it was described here in what you just read. And the heaven over the lake, the heaven treads in the lake. It's like treading water in a way. You're holding a position where you stay above and part of you is below. And that's just, you're constantly treading in between this zone. And that's your behavior, because your behavior is treading at all times. Unless you're all alone, even then it's treading within its own self. So it's a vigilance that happens here. And why wouldn't it be? Because this is part of what is empowering the direction of all things. These two gates, part of the vessel of love. The vessel of love generates and empowers the wave of movement. Gate 2 picks it up and shoots it up through the top gates and creates and is the movement, essentially. So love moves things. Here's where the greatest expression, grounded in, is this love of all, a love of ourselves inside of humanity, and we tread within that. Treading on the tail of a tiger. Beware, right? You better have the right behavior if you're going to do that, because then, or else it's going to eat you. I like what the noble one had to say this time.
Also in the book, in a different paragraph, it says, treading the tiger's tail is perilous. Yet, if you can move in harmony with it, you can invite its power into your own life as protection, fertility, and blessing. To do this without getting bitten requires both skill and care.
And a love of yourself in and amongst the humanity of the others. It's logical. It's an understanding process. I love how the understanding meets up with the very integrative gate 10, which in many iterations of that gate 10 might not be paying attention to anything. You know what I mean? Very self-absorbed potentially, but it's met with its collective piece of the process.
So, tying it all together, what can we tell our audience in practical terms, how they may see this energy this week, how they may play with it and engage with it?
Relax and let the sun shine on you this week. Literally, relax. By relax, it doesn't mean do nothing. Get it dang busy and dirty or whatever it is you're going to do, but
Enjoy yourself.
enjoy only what you really feel like doing, literally, as best you can this week. And just witness how it invites the sharing and cooperativeness of others. It also helps sift through those people who won't really do that with you. Be yourself. This is a week to that's relax. Stop being anyone else. Okay. Give it up. You're done. You got a week off. This is that week, literally. And whatever someone says, no matter how extreme it seems, who cares? You're good. Why bother? Just be yourself this week, like steadfastly or deliberately, and do that for yourself.
I like that. That's good advice. Yeah, it makes sense because Earth in gate 10, then being grounded in our behavior, the love of ourselves and our empowerment and our experience, and being grounded in that. So it's like, take care of your body, do the things that makes your body feel good, whether that's go play sports or go take a bubble bath, wherever in that realm of things, taking care of yourself and how you're engaging and behaving in the world. Like if there's things you don't like about your behavior, maybe now is the time to notice that and like shift and course correct that into something that does feel more aligned. Like that kind of focus on your love of yourself, your body, and how you're behaving out in the world, so you can shine the sun in 15, which is that extremes, and having those extremes in the proper places and having them balanced, and play with your own extremes and where you want to engage with them and shine that in the world, and know where to place those extremes. You can go party and dance at a club, but maybe don't do that at church. Like know where to do the right things in the right places.
That's good.
Yeah, because it's just like there's a place for both things. Just do them in their proper places and have the correct behavior, and then you can really shine it, right? If you know where things belong and you know where to behave in the right ways, then you can really have fun, and then you can have a lot of freedom in it because everything's in its proper place, so it'll be appropriate.
And don't forget the extremes that we're referring to. You'll start to find out your behavior, the stuff that maybe even you thought you didn't like, if it felt good, it was actually correct for you. It just seemed extreme. And this will be a great time to contemplate all of that, to allow that to be contemplative. Hey, what's the big deal? That 15 is famous for just, hey, what's the big deal? Just let's not let this doesn't need to be a big deal. It wants the rhythm to get back in place. What's the big deal? We got cells that need surviving, Let's get back into this rhythm here. It's fine. So let it be good. Bask in the sunshine this week, please.
Yeah, enjoy the summer solstice. So really bask in the sunshine.
Yeah.
How perfectly said, Danny.
Thank you, Moni. I thought that worked out well. So yeah, that's my advice for the week.
Yeah. Enjoy. Happy solstice. Enjoy the sunshine. And we will catch you next week with another transit. Thanks a lot.
Much love, everyone. Goodbye.